It is not up to you to tell me when my time is up.
Well, the time
And I am
the
going to
senator.
say, Mr. Secretary, you're either feckless or complicit. You're not in control of your department. Yours is unserious. It is shocking. You're not combating anti-Semitism within your ranks. It's a dangerous and pivotal time in our nation's history. Thank you.
Senator Rosen, you're recognized. I thought I would just create a stir down there.
No. I thank you to my seatmates on both sides. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We take care of each other. And again, thank you, Chairman Wicker, Ranking Member Reed, for holding this hearing. Mr. Secretary, we have a short amount of time, so I'm just going to ask a few simple questions, and I would just appreciate if, for some of them, you would just answer yes or no. And so, Secretary Hegseth, would you agree that every senior official in the Department of Defense must reflect the values and conduct that our service members must uphold and our citizens expect?
Senator, we want to uphold the highest possible standards.
I'll take that for a yes. So would you also agree, then, that anti-Semitism and anti-Semitic conspiracy theories have no place in our government or military? Yes or no?
They should not.
Thank you. So would you also agree that anyone who has posted, and I'm going to quote, anti-Semitic conspiracy theories lifted right out of a neo-Nazi playbook, end quote, shouldn't be anywhere near a position of power? Yes or no?
Since I don't believe the characterization of many officials in the news media, I would need to see precisely what's being characterized.
But generally, would you not say that if
Generally
we
speaking,
thought something
sure.
was coming out of a neo-Nazi playbook, it doesn't have any place in our Department of Defense? Now, Secretary Hegseth, the quote that I just read you was referencing Ms. Kingsley Wilson, the DoD press secretary. It's a direct quote from her, who my Republican colleagues on this committee have also expressed alarm over due to her comments. In fact, one colleague said, and I'm going to quote again, obviously I don't agree with her comments. I trust the Pentagon will address this, end quote. However, in the months since, not only have you not addressed these anti-Semitic comments, you have promoted Ms. Wilson. This seems to be at odds, honestly, with President Trump's commitment, very public commitment to combat anti-Semitism, which you just said you too agreed with. So, Secretary Hegseth, given the rise in anti-Semitic violence, hate crimes in our nation, and to show that the Trump administration, your administration, does have a zero-tolerance policy for anti-Semitism, will you dismiss Ms. Kingsley from her role as a U.S. military spokesperson today, yes or no?
Again, that's why I referenced the context and characterization.
Well, we'll send you the quote,
I've worked
sir.
directly with her. She does a fantastic job, and there's any suggestion that I or her or others are party to anti-Semitism is a mischaracterization attempting to win political points.
Sir, and I'm going to say
Senator,
that
you're
your
attempting
lack
to
of
win
an
political
answer
points on the backs of
confirms what we've
mischaracterizing the
known
statements
all
of a
along.
member
The Trump
of my
administration
department,
is not serious.
and I'm not going to stand for that.
You are not a serious person. You are not serious about rooting out, fighting anti-Semitism within the ranks of our DoD. It's despicable. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. I'm going to move on to General Hawk. The sudden inexplicable dismissal of General Hawk. He serves both the director of the National Security Agency, commander of U.S. Cybercom. It's deeply concerning, raises significant questions about the decision-making process, its potential consequences. Public reports indicate that the removal of General Hawk, who has served his country proudly, has been influenced by social media influencer, a personality on social media, Laura Loomer, spreads conspiracy theories. She's been denounced even by Republicans. And the idea is that any leaders within our agencies responsible for our nation's security, somebody would be dismissed based on the advice of a social media influencer is alarming, to say the least. It's surely not how we should be running our military. So were you consulted regarding General Hawk's dismissal, yes or no?
Well, Senator, I would not advise believing everything you read in the media.
Were you,
and I'm consulted on every single decision.
Okay,
I'm the
so that's
decision maker
alarming.
for the department, and we all serve at the pleasure of the president.
Okay.
And
so
we have the prerogative to make those decisions for the best for the country, and we did that.
Did you personally approve Mr. Hawk's dismissal, yes or no?
Anyone coming or going
Personally
at the
approve
Defense
it.
Department, especially at that level, would ultimately be a decision made by me, and I stand behind that.
Did you personally relieve him? Did you personally relieve him? Yes or
Anyone
no?
at that level
You did,
who is
so that's a
relieved
yes.
would be relieved by the Secretary of Defense.
Was there a specific justification for General Hawk's dismissal? Was Was there a specific justification for General Hawk's dismissal?
Ma'am, we all serve at the pleasure of the president, and the president deserves the type
it
of
true?
commanders and advisors that he thinks will best
Did you
equip him
discuss General
to
Hawk's
accomplish the
dismissal with
mission.
Laura Loomer prior to his removal?
I don't discuss who I talk about anything with, but ultimately this is my decision, and he serves at the pleasure of the president, and that's why he's no longer there.
So do you believe it's appropriate for any social media personality to influence personnel decisions in your department, yes or no?
I believe your time is up, Senator.
Oh, it is not up to you to tell me when my time is up.
Well, the time
And I
of
am
the
going to
senator.
say, Mr. Secretary, you're either feckless or complicit. You're not in control of your department. Yours is unserious. It is shocking. You're not combating anti-Semitism within your ranks. It's a dangerous and pivotal time in our nation's history. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back. And I don't appreciate the smirk, sir. You are the Secretary of Defense.
The time of the gentlelady has expired.
All right, everyone, let's get straight into the weeds of this one, because this hearing is a wild, unsanitized look at how the high-stakes politics of national security are actually melting down behind closed doors right now in 2026. What you are looking at is an absolute masterclass in ideological friction between the legislative branch trying to maintain institutional guardrails and a defiant Department of Defense that seems to be taking its marching orders from the internet. You have Senator Jacky Rosen of Nevada completely taking off the gloves and going directly after the throat of Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. The core of this fight isn't just a basic disagreement over military budgets or defense strategy. It's an existential crisis about who is actually running the United States military apparatus, the constitutional chain of command or right-wing social media influencers. Let's dismantle the first massive rhetorical trap that Rosen sets in this transcript, which centers around the explosive rhetoric of the current DoD press secretary, Kingsley Wilson. Rosen starts with an old-school lawyer tactic, trying to get Hegseth locked into baseline commitments. She asks him flat out if defense officials should reflect the highest values of the military, and if anti-Semitism has no place in the government. Hegseth answers with standard, safe, bureaucratic platitudes. But then Rosen drops the hammer. She reveals that she is quoting phrases lifted right out of a neo-Nazi playbook that were publicly authored by his own hand-picked spokesperson, Kingsley Wilson. Educate yourselves on why this context is absolutely insane for 2026. Even mainstream Republican lawmakers on this very committee had previously gone on the record saying they were alarmed and expected the Pentagon to fix it. But instead of reprimanding her, Hegseth actually promoted her. Watch how the machinery of the executive branch reacts when caught in this massive contradiction. Hegseth doesn't even attempt to defend the substance of the statements. Instead, he attacks the news media, claiming the quotes are mischaracterized. When Rosen pushes him for a simple yes or no on firing a military spokesperson over anti-Semitic rhetoric, Hegseth snaps. He completely abandons the typical polished defense secretary persona and accuses a sitting United States senator of weaponizing bigotry just to score cheap political points. It's a vicious, biting defense mechanism designed to invalidate the oversight process entirely. He tries to flip the script by claiming Rosen is the one being unserious and despicable, creating a cloud of hyper-partisan dust to hide the fact that his press room is being run by an ideological extremist. But Rosen doesn't let the conversation stall. She shifts gears seamlessly to a far more dangerous and unprecedented national security crisis, the sudden, shocking, and completely unexplained firing of General Timothy Hawk. Let's break down the real-world gravity of who General Hawk actually is, because the mainstream media clips don't explain the sheer weight of this. General Hawk wasn't just some middle management bureaucrat in a uniform. He was simultaneously the director of the National Security Agency and the commander of U.S. Cyber Command. He was the literal shield protecting the nation's entire digital infrastructure, global signals intelligence, and cyber warfare systems from foreign adversaries. A four-star general of that caliber is typically insulated from raw partisan politics to ensure structural stability in times of geopolitical crisis. Yet Rosen brings the real story behind the script into the open light. Public reports indicating that this monumental national security leader was purged because of an internal smear campaign orchestrated by far-right social media personality Laura Loomer. Think about how terrifying that concept is from an educational perspective. We are talking about an activist who has been publicly denounced by members of her own party for spreading unhinged conspiracy theories, yet she seemingly possesses the back-channel leverage to get the chief of the NSA fired overnight. Rosen demands to know if Hegseth was even consulted or if he simply let an internet influencer dictate the leadership of our intelligence agencies. Hegseth's response here is deeply defensive and revealing of the current administration's raw power dynamic. He tells Rosen not to believe everything she reads in the media, but then immediately walks into his own trap by claiming he is consulted on every single decision because he is the ultimate decision-maker for the department. He falls back on the absolute legal baseline. Everyone serves at the pleasure of the president, and the executive branch has the unmitigated prerogative to clear out anyone they want. When Rosen repeatedly demands a yes or no answer on whether there was an actual concrete professional justification for relieving General Hawk, Hegseth completely stonewalls. He uses the phrase pleasure of the president as a total shield, essentially confirming that a 4-star cybersecurity genius can be deleted from the system simply because he didn't pass an ideological loyalty test conducted on social media. When Rosen hits him with the ultimate diagnostic question, asking if it is appropriate for a social media influencer to sway personnel choices at the highest level of global defense, Hegseth completely folds under the pressure. He looks at the clock, realizes he has no logical exit strategy, and tries to abruptly cut her off by saying, "I believe your time is up, Senator." This is a massive breach of congressional decorum. It is not the role of an executive witness to gavel down a member of the Senate, and Rosen treats it like a declaration of war.